Ever wish you had someone to talk to anytime, anywhere, no matter what you're going through? Meet PsychPal, your 24/7 AI companion designed to help you process your thoughts, calm your mind, and keep you moving forward. Chat anytime during a panic attack, on a restless night, or just when you need to vent. Prefer talking instead of typing? Try voice journaling. PsychPal listens, transcribes, and truly understands. You can even upload screenshots of tough conversations and it'll help you unpack how they made you feel. PsychPal keeps life organized too. It can add appointments to your calendar, track your mood, and even summarize your sessions for your therapist so you'll never lose progress. Plus, built in crisis resources are always just one click away. It's a privacy first, constantly evolving, made to complement your professional care, not replace it. Ready to try it out? Head over to the link in this episode and use my code Pete at checkout to get 20% off your first month subscription to PsychPal. PsychPal, because your mind deserves a companion too. There we go. I think that's the one I like. We got it. We got it. Boom.
What do I do when life's so meaningless? What do I do when I just ain't feeling this? Anyone feeling this? Anyone feeling this? What do I do when life's so meaningless? What do I do when I just ain't feeling this? Anyone feeling this? Anyone feeling this? Meaningless, meaningless, meaningless. Desires not to exist.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Pete for Sunny. I want to welcome a very special guest today. But before we get started today, guys, let's give a shout out to my partner, PsychPal, guys. Go check them out in the link in the bio. 10%, you get 20% off the first month by using my code Pete. With that being said, guys, let's welcome in the host of the Other Link podcast, the one, the only. You guys from Other Link podcast, guys, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going with you?
Hello.
So why don't you guys
having us.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, everybody, so we know who we're talking to?
I'm Dory. This is Mike, who keeps, getting in and out of the camera like he's shy.
He's shy.
I'm Mike. I'm the quiet one in the relationship. Obviously.
So obviously, guys, Mike and Dory, listen, why don't you guys tell us a little more about yourselves, guys, and then we'll get into your podcast itself.
Sure. I'm Dory. I have anxiety, depression, CRPS, and autism and ADHD.
Awesome.
And more. And I'm Mike. I experienced a lot of bullying growing up. I have depression, anxiety, and I did internet radio back in the day, like 20 years ago, which is what got me into the whole podcasting realm and doing online stuff like this. And that's kind of where I got started. And then she joined along for the ride. And she's the talker. So that helps get through a podcast, having a talker.
Yeah, it's good having a good co-host like that, though.
Yep.
So, guys, like, how did y'all meet though? Like, how did you all end up getting into this? I know Mike said he did radio. Dory, what was your thing for getting into this kind of thing?
I married him, so
she's like, well, I'm kind of stuck with him,
We met through AOL Instant Messenger, if everybody remembers what that is. But we were friends at first for a while. We got married, and then we started doing the internet radio stuff. Mostly we were focusing on paranormal stuff because we both are interested in paranormal and especially ghosts.
Yeah. And I have 2 books written about the ghosts of Cincinnati with my brother published.
That's really cool.
So that was a big thing back in the day.
And so enjoying, talking to different people about the paranormal. And then after a while, we ended up having to stop it because we moved, we got different jobs, so we didn't have time for it anymore.
And drama.
Yeah, that too. Drama always comes with that. And then we decided, you know what? We were kind of feeling a little bit angsty kind of thing. Mostly me more so than him, because he's like, nothing bothers him. And I was kind of getting angry, a little too angry, and because of, certain people. And I felt like I needed to do something to give back. At first I was thinking, maybe nursing or medical school would do it, but it didn't. And I was like having panic attacks. And so I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. So we started talking about, trying to do a podcast. And long story short, but eventually we settled on, talking to people that are a part of LGBTQ plus and disabled people because I'm a part of both of those groups.
Okay. Okay.
And usually in authoritarianism regimes, the first people that are removed are disabled and LGBTQ plus people. And that's why I kind of wanted to settle on that as opposed to say just all marginalized people.
Yeah.
So to make the long story long, she had been on Instagram for a while trying to find her community because she
Mm-hmm.
was feeling, like she said, angry and kind of alone. And she found a lot of like people in wheelchairs, people working in the medical field that were disabled, and it really helped her a lot. And when she mentioned the idea of doing this podcast, I said, okay, why don't you check with those people, see if there's any interest out there? And I thought maybe we'd get 5 and we'd be done and that would be that. We're not good at doing a podcast with just us, like solo podcasts with no guests. We don't keep up with it. We don't go back to it every week. So I thought it would be quick and wouldn't go anywhere. And I was so wrong. We got so many guests right off the bat and we kept getting them. So it was a great surprise.
Well, it's awesome though. I mean, because that's how mine did too. Like, I was like, I'm not. Let's see if anybody's really interested in this subject. And man, were they excited? Like, they're exploding. Like, I was just looking at my
Yeah.
calendar and somebody else. I think right now my calendar ends sometime in July, but I really haven't been pushing it too hard because I'm thinking about switching my release schedule because I was doing 3 days a week. So now I've wrapped up season 3. So now we're in this. This is season 4 right here. So this will be a part of season 4. So you guys will be one of the first few that get to join the new season of the show. But yeah, that sounds like I saw your guys' podcast and I was like, man, that's an interesting topic to get into though. Because my brother's a part of the same thing. He's part of the community too. So I thought it was so interesting that you guys jumped into that one as well, because a lot of people don't realize the shit they go through, man. Like the sphere they live in and things like I remember my brother early on, he was afraid to tell people that he was even in the community because he was afraid that people were gonna react. And I was just like, to me, I'm just like, I've always accepted everybody. Like, I growing up in a mixed family, things like that. I went through this whole journey with him when he was transitioning and things like that too. So, like to me, it was just like I've been his biggest support system. So to me, it didn't really bother me. And I've always been the same way. Like it's whatever you choose. And my daughter happens to be a part of the community now too. She and her girlfriend and things like that. So like I've always been supportive of anybody's choice of what they want to do, and I've been a defender of that as well because I feel like it shouldn't matter what other people choose. Like if somebody's happy, they're happy. What does it matter?
Right.
Exactly. We need more people like you out there.
Yes, exactly. Part of also the reason why I also chose, marginalized communities was I am very marginalized. I am
Hmm.
like the marginalized of marginalization possible because of being a female and I'm LGBTQ, I'm disabled and, etc. I hated when I was growing up feeling like that other person, like the token type of thing. And I didn't want anybody else to feel that. I never want anybody else to feel that way.
Yeah.
And so I figured if we could talk to people and, be that, say, older sister or parent or something for them so that they know that they're loved, why not? And so that's kind of why we love talking to people is just being that person that's in their corner. And, even though we start off as not knowing each other, by the end, we're, great friends. And I want to be that for people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. Like I said, that's the way this show ends up too. There's a lot of people that come on the show that I still see afterwards. We've had a few returning guests. Somebody coming as almost 4 times already. And she was one of my original guests from the beginning of the show. She was actually the second guest on the show. She's been on 4 times now. Published a few books in between there and things like that. She does a lot of shadow working. So, mental health has always been a big thing for me ever since the beginning because it was a journey into my own exploration, the whole thing. And when I came across your guys' podcast, I was like, dude, I got to bring these guys in because this is an interesting topic to be a part of because I don't think a lot of people have a voice in that community that get a chance to say anything because everybody's quick to judge them. They look at what they see, but they don't learn who the person is itself. So, anytime I see somebody that may be in that area, I want to come to them and start having a conversation with them because
Hmm.
I'm curious, you know what I mean? Like I'm always asking like, what's the proper way to approach somebody? And I ask them too, hey, listen, if I approach you wrong, forgive me. I'm just curious. I want to know a little more about you. I'm always curious to know more because, like I said, my brother's in the community and like all the things I've learned from him and stuff like that too. So I've always been a supporter of that. And now my daughter has decided, that's the right chance to go. She told me, remember when she told me originally, she was like, Dad, I like girls. I'm like, okay,
What do you think I'm gonna love you any differently? I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what kind of, are you setting me up to like tell you no? Like, I'm not gonna
Right.
say no. Cause I remember my brother went to tell my mom and he was so fucking terrified. He's like, he had to write her a 3-page letter. I'm like, yeah, to me, that's like, who cares? Hey, dad, this is my boyfriend. Hey, mom, this is my whatever. Insert in there. It doesn't matter. It's this so and so. They're an individual. Treat them like that.
Mhm.
But
Exactly.
that's what I love about you guys, that you're inviting people on to give them a voice, because now they can feel like they have a place to be heard now. So obviously the response was great. So like, you guys have enjoying it so far. So
Yes.
any interesting guests along the way?
Um, it-
We've talked to Michael Threets. He's the host of the new Reading Rainbow. He's got really
Shit,
bad
really?
anxiety and
Get out of
yeah.
here. That's
depression.
awesome.
So he was a great one. We just talked to Blair Imani. She's big in the disability community. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She has a YouTube series, Smarter in Seconds.
I
She
think
was
I
a
am,
lot
but
of
I'm gonna check
fun.
that out for sure.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she's awesome.
Yeah, she was great. And
Um,
there's been so many
yeah.
others, too many good ones to name. We had one you were talking about that's been back 3 times.
There you
So
go.
almost caught up to your 4 timer.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
But
I've had a couple 2-timers. I had a couple. The only one's at 4 times. She's only been back 4, and I told her she had a title, and she was like, "Oh, great, I got a title." I'm like you're killing me here, man. I just gave you a title. It's great intro, and you're just like, "Okay, well, that's awesome. I'm a 4-time return." I'm like, "Yeah, you're 4 times. That's more than most people can say in this show." But I've done so many. Like I've done like 400 plus episodes, and it's just like, it's a lot. Then I picked up another one I do now called Voice of the Voiceless, which is just like sharing people's stories, just letting people have a chance to be heard. And it's just any stories at this point. It's not mental focus. My co-host does have a background in it. She has a master's in social work and things like that too. So Maddie and I, she originally was a guest in the show, and then me and her we're talking about doing something together because she has a support group called Jane. So I was like, you know what? Let's go do something. I think of something, I'm always looking for new projects to do, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with human design, but I'm a man generator. So I have 20,000 projects that are going on in my head, and I've executed 2 of them so far, and I've got more coming. Like I'm never satisfied with enough. And people are like, "Are you doing too much?" I'm like, maybe, but it's okay. I'll get there eventually. So, but it's been great though, man. I love it. It's been fun. I've been doing it about a year and a half now for this one. My other one now, I just started. It started taking off. Already off to August, booking with people on the show.
awesome.
So it's very similar to what you guys are doing, but except for we're just kind of accepting any stories. We just had a guy come on from, what do you say, Bosnian War. He was there as a kid. Like he was literally that close. That shrapnel was landing that close to him, kind of thing. Like I was like, this is. So it never no telling where this thing is going though.
mhm,
Wow, that's really
that's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, I mean,
And
amazing to live through that, and such horror too. And which I don't understand, but I mean, that's a whole other topic. But it's just, I love hearing people's stories. I love
Hmm.
getting to know them on a level that a lot of times other people don't even bother to try. And, we like to talk just about anything that they want to talk about because everybody has a story, of course.
Hmm.
But sometimes only focusing on just, well, why are you disabled or why are you LGBTQ plus? It kind of, I think, leaves out so much more interesting stuff um, by only focusing on that one aspect of them. And it kind of makes it easier to just disregard their story. If you weave into the story that, they're comedians or they have their own companies and how they run those companies, I think it makes it much more interesting. And the fact that it humanizes them, which is most important, is that it humanizes them because so many times we get disregarded and just, thrown away because we don't seem to have what they need out of us.
Yeah. Or they
and
label
I,
people too easily, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's always a
yeah,
label to something when you don't understand something. It's always labeled as something, and that's the same thing with mental health. A lot of times people come on and share their stories. You'll hear a lot of people go like, "Oh, the label is crazy," or "Oh, you need to go to the doctor," or "You need to go check yourself." A lot of these people are like, "Well, hey, guess what? I've already been in all those places." But hey, thanks
yep,
for
Yeah.
thanks for considering that though. Thanks.
Yeah.
yeah. The community is definitely the best part. Just getting to meet these people. They're amazing
Oh
people,
yeah,
all of
definitely.
them.
Hmm.
It's it's by far the best part.
Some of the best times I've ever had were at drag king shows and drag queen shows, and all these other things. I've done all these. It's great. You know, everybody's like always has this hypersensitivity about, oh, well, this is, I'm like, it's nothing like you seem, dude. Trust me. Like, it's just like any other club you go into.
Mhm.
If someone's interested, they'll say something. If they're not, they're not. It's not like you're just going to get targeted just because you're a man, female. What it's, you know, the whole stereotyping thing that comes out is just so stupid to me. It's like,
It is.
you know, and then it's causing worse for people that have to sit there and hide who they really are because people want to judge them for the person they want to be. You know, a friend of mine said her 11-year-old niece is having an identity crisis now, and she doesn't know who she wants to be, male or female. And she's female by nature, you know what I mean, but then doesn't know if she wants to be male or not. Which I mean, it's interesting to watch how it goes because it's like you try to be as supportive as possible. And that's all you can do is just be supportive, you know. Don't sit there and judge them. Don't give them a hard time about it. Understand they're going through a rough process themselves. You know, it's like any other subject. You know, think about like suicide's one of those things. I compare it to a lot of times too, because like people tell you that I'm having suicidal thoughts, they freak out. The same thing is like someone goes, "Hey, listen, you know, I think I may be gay or whatever title you want to give it." You know, I feel like you know I may be interested in men versus females, being a male. You know what I mean? It's like then people start freaking out. Essentially the same. Would you agree to that a little bit?
Yeah. And
Yeah, 100%.
that's why I wanted this here so that people, if they are shunned by family or friends,
Hmm.
they can always talk to us because we don't do that. I will happily, bring you into the fold. You can call me mom
Definitely.
or sister, whatever, because I want to be that person that if you have no one else, I'll be there for you
Yeah.
because everybody deserves to be loved and cared for. And, labeling them instantly, oh, well, you don't know what you really mean, or you don't know
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
want, and all that stupid shit. It pisses me off because, like you said, these are just people that want to live a happy life.
Yeah.
Why are we relegating them to the shadows just because you're afraid of it? It
Exactly.
doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right, Dory. I love that point. Yeah, that's almost what it's like. They cast them in the shadow. They're like the outcasts. They exile them. All those things. And it's just like, why? Why do you have to do that to people? Like, I tell people my brother is transgender, and they'll look at me weird. I'm like, I love throwing people off too in conversations. You just throw it at them. Like, you can just tell they're like those type of people that are just not okay with things. I'm like, yeah, you know what? My brother's transgender. What's your point, man? Like, everything's fine with me. Like, you know, and you could tell some people that are just aren't okay with it. I'm just like, they're just people, dude. What do you mean? At the end of the day, like, I think you're worried too much about the physical appearance versus who the actual individual is as a person. You know, you may not understand everything, so just ask questions. I mean, they'll gladly answer the question for you. They don't mind. You know what I mean? Like, just ask a question. Like, how hard it? Like, where do we lead from where we can't just talk to people and have a conversation? Like, hey, listen. So, can I ask a couple questions? If it seems a little offensive, let me know. You know what I mean? Like, approach it like that. Say, hey, listen, I'm kind of curious. I don't understand. Maybe you can help me understand. And just ask. Like, I feel like that's where a lot of people give up on. Is they're too scared to ask the question because they don't want something. Because there are some people I've met in the community though that get really upset easily, and I'm like, but you have to. I'm like, my point of perspective. I come in is like, we got to understand. A lot of people don't understand what's going on. Like, a lot of people aren't okay with the older generations. Just aren't okay with it because that's not what they grew up with. So you have to understand that when you're dealing with certain generational gaps, some people just don't get it, and you're not going to win them over regardless because that's just not okay with them. And at the end of the day, there's still going to be some hate there, but at the same time, it's like you do have to understand these people grew up in a whole nother mindset than what we're going through now, like more accepting that people are now more accepting versus before. Because, like I said, my brother I remember him like being afraid to tell most people, and most of them met him didn't even have an idea he used to be a female. It was funny to listen to. I'm like, oh yes, yeah, my brother used to be a girl or whatever. We were talking about it and things like that. And people just look at me weird, like you're okay with this? Yeah, why? What does it matter? It's his
Yeah,
choice.
I don't understand the obsession of other people's genitals, um, because it doesn't really matter
Even their bedroom
unless
in
you're
general. Let's go
with.
even further. Even what
Yeah,
happens behind their closed doors, what they do is their
yes.
business. Why do you care so much?
Exactly. It
Right.
doesn't make sense to me why you need to know when they have sex, how they have
Hmm.
sex, what their genitalia is. It's none of your business.
Hmm.
Nobody's going around asking you what's in your pants. So why do you need to know what's in our pants?
Exactly.
And, as long as nobody is forcing things upon you,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what they do. They should be free, just like you, to have a life and enjoy their life. Just because you're jealous that they're happy, that's on you, not them. And to, try and destroy their lives over your jealousy and over your ignorance just makes me so angry because you miss out on much beautiful things, so many beautiful things, excuse me, um, by being jealous and angry. Don't you, it makes you want to ask them and shake them, why are you so angry? And you need to kind of figure out why that is because that's not our problem. That's not for us to figure out. That's for you. And if you want to stay angry, jealousy, or whatever it is, that's fine. But don't bring us in with it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. I think you had made a really great point there. And to me, it's just like I just don't get it honestly. But it's great that people like yourselves are out there giving people that space to have a voice. I felt like for too long everyone had to hide in the shadows for no reason. Now you guys are giving that sense of empowerment to say things. People, anybody in the community is welcome to come on anytime here. I'd love to speak to some of them. I'd love to know their stories of things, how what the things they went through because the mental health aspect of it is just interesting to see. Dory, with your mental health issues, was it worse when you were getting ready to tell people that you were a part of the community?
Honestly, it was the worst part was admitting that I had depression and anxiety more so than anything because it was always, well, you're so strong.
Yeah.
But, I've never seen you break down or anything like that. And honestly, telling people, "Oh, you're so strong," actually makes it worse
Yeah.
because then it makes it feel like, well, I'm not allowed to have my feelings. I'm not
Mhm.
allowed to say anything. I have to be this stoic person. And honestly, that was harder than coming out and realizing who I was. My kids were just like, "Yeah, okay." And Mike was just like, "Sure. Um, that's you. That's great. And, I'm glad that you're figuring out who you are." And, also what made it hard was it took so long to kind of figure out who I was because I had masked for so much of my life. I didn't really know what I liked or who I was because it was just, I got to be palatable because of being a brown person in America.
Yeah.
And, you've got to constantly be smiling and happy and all of that stuff. You're not allowed to have any other facial expression because they'll accuse you of, being that angry kind of woman. And
Yeah.
you don't want to be stereotyped.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% though. And then being an interracial couple comes up as well. What was that? MTV did a whole did that My Life and then it showed that one where people had the interracial couples where people were I think that was a great show when that came out though, because it gave people different perspective. Those people that were always hiding behind the truth of things. Oh well, okay, well these are what these people deal with on a daily basis, like Dory and Mike could deal with these things at one point. The fact the kids are great about it was awesome too, because they're kids. They're like, all right, and they're gonna grow up to be great kids because you can tell because they're okay. All right, well, that's cool. That's your choice. What you're doing, hey, more power to you. Then you have a supportive partner like Mike, there as well. So it works out even better for you. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does.
And things like
And
that.
that's the other reason why we want to be here is be that supportive person for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I want to say I'm not as perfect as that all sounds. It took a lot of learning for me. I came
Well, but you were
from
willing to learn, Mike. That's what matters, though.
right,
That you took the
yes.
time
exactly.
to learn. That's the other side of the coin for a lot of these mental health issue things too. Think about it. People with borderline personality disorder. There's so much to learn. Like I was involved with somebody that had it. I had to learn a lot of stuff. Like I'm looking at all these things as So I mean, you're willing to learn. That's what matters, man. That's the best part about it. Like you're willing to go that extent to understand more, so you can better support Dory. So that's hats off to you there, right there. You're already winning the
So
battle.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
and you
And
make a excellent point. Sorry, Mike. It is important to have, yeah, like we said, I'm the talker. It is important to have that support system. And if you don't know
Hmm.
exactly how to do it, that's fine. Ask, look it up. People are willing to, as long as you're willing to learn, we're willing to share what we need and how you can be there to help us. It's when you just disappear
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
shoo us out. What were you gonna say?
I grew up in a very white, kind of richer area, and I went to Catholic school, private school with majority white, richer kids. So to get with her, move kind of more on the coast where it's more diverse,
Hmm.
it was a big culture change and a big learning experience. But I wouldn't change it for anything. It's
That's
great to
awesome.
have it. And she taught me 99% of everything.
Well, it's good though.
Well,
Mike, the fact that you're willing to learn is a battle winner right there alone. Like she was just saying, you're a great support system for her because you're willing to learn the things she's teaching you stuff, and I think we have this great thing called the internet, but nobody wants to use it. We all want to use
yeah.
it for everything else, to be hateful towards each other instead of looking up how to be more supportive to people and things like that as well. And to me, it's just ridiculous. Like the things I see people say, and from my perspective, the videos I hate the most are those suicide videos where they're like, after you take your life, 5 minutes later, there'll be 50,000 text messages. I'm like, well, listen, do you understand what you're saying to people really isn't fucking helping much? Like, I get so angry at myself. It's like, can you stop posting this shit, please? It's not helping the subject. Like, you think you're helpful, but you're really not. If somebody at the edge is going to see that and go, okay, well, you don't care my life, fuck you, I'm out. And to me, it's just like, it could be anybody. Put anybody in that category, Yeah,
Mhm.
because everybody, we like to
Yeah.
categorize everybody, so everybody's got to be in a certain category. To me, it's crazy.
It is.
It is.
And it makes it harder to then want to even say that
Mhm.
you have anxiety or depression because then people are like, oh, well, that's the trend now. It's trendy
Right.
to have it. And it's not
Or
trendy.
narcissist, or calling you a
Yeah.
narcissist. I'm like, y'all have no idea what that word even means to you. Like, ask the definition and watch them look at you like, huh? Well, he's having narcissist. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. We can't just start calling people narcissistic like, and they're not even that close to what that is. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the most overused one. Everybody's saying, oh, I have anxiety, so I can't work. I mean, yes, in extreme situations, yes, that's the case. Other people, I feel like they take that diagnosis and they just hide behind it. Oh, I'm a survivor, this and that. It's like, why don't you just be an individual like Mike, Dory, and Pete? We're all three different people. Let's just be ourselves.
I
Mhm.
would love to say I have anxiety and not go to work again.
Yeah.
That'd be great because work is one of my biggest causes of anxiety.
Hmm.
It was honestly one of my biggest ones too. Just having to, as a teacher, I was a professor for a long while, and having to perform in front of the students and, be not just the professor, but you also have to be their shoulder to cry on. And you have to, be a logistic professor type of thing.
Hmm.
And all of these different roles wrapped into one. And it's a lot, especially when you don't get paid all that much too.
Yeah,
And, you're being that for them, but nobody thinks about, well, what about the teacher?
exactly. Exactly. That's
And
a very good point.
yeah, you hear so many horror stories of students feeling like, they have no hope of going forward or things like that. And you've got to be the cheerleader, but teachers also need the cheerleaders to keep going. And, we take so much from them and never give it back. And, that's a huge source, I'm sure, for a lot of people's anxiety is jobs just suck so much out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I deal with people every day in my life, and yeah, some days I tell people I don't like people, and it's only from the sense of like once you work with people in a customer service setting enough, it's just like,
Yes.
Yep.
So I choose to work at nights because I like the people that come in understand me more. That I'm just like, yeah, it's not that I don't like people in general. I'm a very social person. I run a podcast and people are like, I'm like, I know this sounds funny, but I run a podcast, but I don't like people. I'm like, I just don't like certain types of people. I just can't stand those because I always get those older guys that are judgmental and things. They're always making comments about women being in the kitchen. And I'm just like, okay, let's stop with these comments now. I don't want to hear this shit. I don't agree with any of this. I think that I get where you're coming from, the old world thinking of how you guys are raised. I get it, but at the same time, it's just like I don't get mad about it though. I just kind of brush it off. But yeah, man, oh God, I don't like people some days. It's just like I can't go in there and deal with people because it's just like the questions you get, you're just like, okay, yeah. It's just, but yeah, being a teacher though is close to home too because my mom is a retired art teacher. She taught for God, I don't remember how long, for a long time now. She still does art though on the side. A lot of the art pieces in the house, in fact, around me in this room are all her artwork she's done, and in the house, everything hers. So she does like those painting classes now because now she's retired, and things like that too. So that's great. I think a lot of people, how that saying goes is that, the one person that takes care of everybody else, but who's worrying about the one person that's taking care of
Mhm.
everybody? And no one ever answers that question. And that's the hard part, especially when you deal with like mental health issues, like, depression, anxiety. Everybody that doesn't understand depression is like, oh, cheer up. I'm like, but it's not like that though.
If
That's not the
only it was
place.
that easy.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, or
I
just do
wish.
yoga. If you just do yoga, you'll be happy.
Or
And
meditation. Like those are all
yeah,
great things.
Yeah.
I do
I
all
can't
those.
do that because then, like, I've tried to meditate And what happens is that I start thinking of everything
Yeah.
I need to get done, everything I should have said in certain conversations or shouldn't have said. And oh, wait a minute, are my kids doing X, Y, and Z? What are my dogs doing? Where's my cat? And all of these things, pop in your head. So yeah, it's really easy to tell somebody, oh, just make yourself happy or just
Mm-hmm.
meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to understand that, yeah, it can work for some people,
Yeah.
but not everybody has the exact same brain, and not everybody's going to react to the things the same way. And to lump this in as one big, just here, take this, is really insulting.
It
So
is.
I have a story to tell about being brushed off for depression.
But as
About
I was saying, no, I'm kidding.
about 4 years ago, I started seeing a therapist nearby. It
Yeah.
was in person. And I went for maybe a month, like every week for about a month or so. And then I went in, and it was one of those days where it was a good week. I didn't really have a whole lot to say, didn't have a lot to talk about, didn't really have anything going in. Because I said I didn't have anything to talk about, she said, "Well, you don't really know what depression is, do you? You don't really have depression. You just don't know what you're talking about." So I, of course,
What?
left and never went back, but that really fucked me up, or sorry, that
No,
really
you're
screwed
fine.
me
No,
up.
say it. You can say it. It's fine. No, you're good. Don't worry about it. Say what you need. That is pretty fucked up. Like, how can
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
tell you that's supposed to be your therapist? Tells you, well, you don't know
right.
what depression is. Like, huh? What are
It
you
took me
talking about?
probably a year and a half to be
About
willing
2
to go
years.
find another therapist at that point, because I started questioning everything about my depression, even though I had been diagnosed at the age of 16,
Yeah,
and this was at the age of like 40. It still just made me question everything about it.
that's
Yeah, and
that's so fucked up. I'm so
it
sorry,
is.
Mike.
And it
Thank
pissed
you.
me off for really good reasons,
Yeah,
because it made his depression worse. And he was just so completely and utterly shut off from everything that it's just, you watch him, the light just go out of his face.
yeah,
Let's just say that.
yeah,
And then to also, override 2 different doctors from 2 different states. One was Ohio, one was New Jersey. They did not collude together, to create this, to say that you have no clue what depression is. You really don't have depression. What you need to understand is that people don't always have something to say, especially when
Mhm.
they're depressed, especially when they have anxiety. There's no real reason sometimes. It's just that's what your brain is doing to you at that moment. So I questioned her, do you even know what, psychology is?
Exactly.
Because I understood the fact that sometimes you just don't have a reason. That's why it's called clinical depression, as opposed to, just a malaise type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a Jim Carrey video I watched earlier where he was explaining depression to somebody. He was like, "There's a difference in depression and sadness. Sadness is just you're down for the day or something like that, but depression's more like you don't want to be that character." As he explained it, you just don't want to be that character today or this week or things the way he broke it down. But I think you made a great point though. Everybody experiences everything differently though. Like your anxiety is different than mine. Mike's depression is different than mine, different than yours. You know what I'm saying? We each all have our own individual ways of how we handle things and how we react to things. And that's what I love when I get people on the show though that experiences things. Because I have experts that come on all day, but I like the regular stories that come on too, different people that come on because I like to ask them what they experience. Like I have a good friend who I invited to come back. She's the lead singer of a band. She has BPD. So I asked her what BPD for her was like. And she said she questions herself every single day. Now, if you ask the girl I was in a relationship with, me and her, you ask her, it's differently for her. She just has, a whole different answer, which is great because the point is that everybody experiences these things different. On paper, it all looks the same, but it's no
Mhm.
way the same for everybody when they experience these things. Same thing with schizophrenics. Everybody said, oh, they always hallucinate. No,
No.
because I've met a few so far. Few said no, they don't have any. Some say, one guy I met recently said he sees like a little ball, like maybe that big, little bit as big as his fist. That's it. Other people have full on, like, a beautiful mind kind of thing going on, things
Mhm.
like that too. So,
And that's
And
important, that therapists and doctors need to understand,
mhm.
is that we're not one size fits all.
and I finally did find a good therapist, and the days I don't really have anything going in, she just starts talking.
Yeah.
And almost immediately there's something comes up and we have a great session. And that's all it took. I'm not a talker, as you know. I mean, look who's spent the majority of this conversation. So
Don't worry, Mike, you
gotta
added in that little objection. You're the color man in this conversation.
you just gotta get me going, and
Yeah.
I'll talk. But I
Yeah.
don't necessarily know what to say going into it.
Yeah, you know
And
what? 90% of these conversations, I don't even know either. I don't
yeah,
pre-plan for a lot of them.
Right.
I just jump straight in them, because I like that element of just being just organic conversation versus like seeing here I have robotic questions for everybody. I get some people's formats that are like that. Okay, cool. But to me, that's just I can't stand that. That to me, I just
no.
don't like it. But I mean, it works
I
other
would agree.
situations.
I think it's important to have that conversation because then you get really good information and knowledge about people.
Yeah.
And you get to, that's why you end up with such great friends and such an awesome community because you don't interrogate them. You just kind of, okay, this is what you want to talk about. Let's talk about that.
Hmm.
And you dive into it and you get their opinions and your thought processes on, so many different subjects. And because of that, I've learned more about, different things. Mike's learned more about different things, different diseases and different aspects of being gay or lesbian or,
Hmm.
et cetera. And it's awesome to understand these different aspects of what it is to be just you.
Yeah.
And we've learned how to mix music.
Yeah.
It's lots of things. We learn everything. It's
Yeah.
great.
Mixed music. What? Wait a minute. What mixed music? What, Mike? What do you mean there? Come on, you got to elaborate on that one now.
Our guest was a music producer. She
Okay.
mixes the music, so she takes the instruments, puts them all together, and mixes
Okay.
it.
That's dope.
And she talked all about how to do it, and she like really caters to the LGBTQ. But it was really interesting, and I haven't listened to music the same since.
No. And that's what I'm
Awesome.
talking about, getting those conversations. And, you get the human aspect of it because everybody, of course, has a coming out story.
Mhm.
Everybody has, when they discovered their disease. And we want to know that too. But I want to know what makes you you
Yeah.
beyond
Exactly.
that label that everybody insists that you have.
Yeah. So that's when whoever messaged me and IG asked me that same question. Was this going to be a normal conversation? Or are we going to have a topic? I'm like, that's exactly why I answered the way I did, because I'm like, we just want to know who you guys are in general, like. It's great. We could go on a topic. I could pick 20,000 different topics, but I just want to know who you guys are as individuals, because it's always interesting to meet the people behind the podcast. I love podcasting. I have a whole list of friends that podcast and things that you guys have just been added to the list as well. Regardless of the fact, welcome to the family now, because now we're all podcasters. We all stick together, man. We network between people, send guests each
Yeah.
other's way, things like that. I
Exactly.
don't think people realize the community that we build as podcasters hosts. Like we network with other people and things like that as well.
Mhm.
And it's been great though. Meeting other podcasters. I'm always interested in what other people are doing and why they're doing their shows and things like that. I did one the other day. I did a movie podcast the other day with a guy out of the UK. We had a great time over there. And things like that too. I'm always down to do different shows and things like that. So I always sign up. And sometimes this is the funny part. Sometimes I forget I even sign up for some.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've done that too
Understood.
because
Someone messaged me this
have,
morning. I was like, I forgot we were meeting later in the day. I was like, oh shit, that's right. That's why it says it in the thing. I'm like, whoops, never mind.
yeah, we're terrible with saying no. So we have those moments where,
Oh, I love it though.
shit,
It's so
we were
great. And
supposed
you
to
don't
do
have
that.
to do all the work on the other side of it. Cause like I showed people what I do to run 3 days a week, and they're like, Jesus, Pete, do you ever sleep? No. So that's why I decided with this season, I was going to do it a little different. I think I'm going to weekly drops versus doing the 3 days, because it's just been a lot. And I have other projects I want to work on, just do more other things, maybe do some other show ideas and things like that. Just kind of branch out a little bit and just see what else, because I like doing Pete versus Anxiety. Pete versus Anxiety matters to a lot of people. It's not going anywhere, but I'm just going to make it so the content lasts longer for me. So I have more time to work on other things I want to do, and other show ideas I may come up with along the way. I'm thinking of doing like a sports one along the way, maybe do like something like that. I've been talking about some friends and things like that. So, endless possibilities of things. I just love podcasting in general. Like, just having the conversations, 3 of us just hanging out, it's
Mhm.
great because you never know where the conversation is going to go.
Right.
So when you have 2 people coming to you wanting to be a guest, and you can think of a couple that you want to have as a
I've had a
guest,
few. I've had
how
few.
do you say no? I can't do it right now because I'm already booked.
I don't
Do you
say
just
no.
schedule them for 6 months out and
Yeah,
just
pretty much.
let 'em
Yeah.
wait?
Yeah, Mike, I don't turn people
Yeah.
down. Okay. There's only 3 people in the
That's
history.
our problem.
3
We
people in
don't
the
do
history of the show have ever been told no, and it's only because the topic was nowhere near what we're trying to discuss. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this fits into the where we're at here right now, you know. So like I do that. I constantly switch people out, things like that. I have people that book like 6 minutes in advance that don't make, and it's like, okay, I understand. I'm going to be doing another media summit come June again. So I'll be doing the third time in a row. I get to meet 50 plus people. So you never know what kind of interesting stories I'm going to pull out of there too, and things like that as well. You know, stuff like that too. So it's been fun. The opportunities have just keep coming. People ask me to go do all these things, and I'm like, yeah, why not? Hey, listen, or I see a new show idea. Someone's like, oh, I need a guest. So sign me up. I'll be the first one on it. Let's go. You know, I did another one where I did like a panel, like it was an interview with a panel with a bunch of other creators too. It was really interesting too. We did and things like that as well. So, you know, I even did one on what the hell is that, Chatter or something? I've never even heard Chatter until today. Till the day I did this interview with another woman. She was like, she totally forgot she was having me come on. I was like, all right, listen, I know how that feeling is. Trust me. I forget who half these people are. Like people sign up for so far out. It's like shit. Because I book normally. I just book through the summit that I meet people through. Then I have people that I just run into generally just interesting stories that come across, like how I ran across you guys. Podmatch is another site I use as well, and I get paid to, you know, so that just basically covers the cost of everything I need to run everything else, basically, and stuff like that. So I never say no to where I'm getting people from. Like everybody's like, oh, you should strictly do it through this. I'm like, but I don't want to. I want to do it through everything. I've invited people from TikTok on the show. This past season, we had a few people. We had a woman from the California area that was a teacher that she's on TikTok now and had her own mental health struggles. That's teaching her kids like emotional regularity and things like that. So this leads me to my question for you though. With the kids, do you guys have open conversations about mental health with them?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, awesome,
100% open. Sex, everything. We
awesome.
talk about it because I don't want my kids to have to go someplace else other than a
Exactly.
doctor, of course, to find out about their bodies and about, different aspects of mental health. I
Hmm.
want them to understand that they can come to us, they can ask us. We're not going to be upset with them just because they have depression.
Hmm.
We're not going to shun them for any reason. I want to be the one you feel comfortable asking me questions
Yeah.
about.
And we've dealt with a lot of mental health struggles with a couple of the kids. So we've had a lot of conversations, been through a lot, seen a lot. They've
Yeah.
been through a lot. So it's always a learning process. It's not easy, but they made it through and I think they're happy. So
Hmm.
that's what matters.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
that is. All right,
Well,
guys. So we're at the part of the interview where I'm going to ask you two different questions. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched any of these episodes, so you may not know what's about to come to you. So the first one to you comes credit to my good friend from the shit that goes through the shit that goes on in our heads podcast. She asked me the same question I'm about to ask you. So Mike and Dory, if your mental health had a song, what would that song be? Now you can choose multiple songs to break it down, Dory, since I know you deal with multiple things. You can pick it however you want to say
The song that never ends.
it.
Because my depression keeps coming back and that shit
yes,
never stops.
yes, I
God,
love that song.
good old lamb chopper.
Um,
I remember that.
oh, that's really hard. There's honestly like I'm still standing, I would say, is one of the even though I'm literally sitting, but like I'm still standing is it fits not in the way of, divorce or breaking up in a relationship, but I'm still able to keep fighting. I'm still here to, do another day because sometimes
Yeah.
it does get hard. Sometimes you don't want to keep going, but I have to because, I've got friends, I've got family that need me. And so I'm still here.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Yeah, see, I broke mine down two different ways. I said, Artificial Suicide by Bad Omens was my anxiety because the song was just like that constant strumming for me is mine. And then my depression song was Leave a Light On, Talk Away the Dark by Papa Roach because the end of that video where it says 988 on there, which is a powerful message for most people, like everybody
Mhm.
has these things to say. But in fact, the one lady that was on the Chatter interview with, she was trying to tell me 988 wasn't effective. Then one of her own people came back and debunked that whole thing real fast. And then you can just watch her pivot. Oh, never mind. It's a great idea, Pete. Great suggestion. I'm like, yeah, but what does it tell you at first? We're trying to demonize and saying, I don't think so. And I'm like, no, but it's been great though. Since doing the show, we've met the helphub.co, which is run by Lisa Sugarman. She had put together this whole thing for people that ever have any questions that need to know where to be. It covers everything. It covers the religion type things, the different, ethnicities, things like that, all that kind of stuff. Wherever you need to fit into, it's there. It kind of navigates for you because, certain people have certain things they agree with and don't. So It's great. My partner's PsychPal, really cool too. I'll get you guys a link for that one to check out the little. It's like a web app. It goes on your phone, and it's a support between things. So like Mike, it'll keep track of your mood. Same thing, Dory. Same thing for you guys. And you can email your therapist, different things and stuff like that. What you've been feeling that week. So in case Mike, you don't remember what it is you were thinking that week, it'll keep track of it for you. And it's like an AI, but it's AI done right though. If it feels like any point you're getting to the point you may harm yourself, it'll send you there. If you need therapy, it'll help you find the closest therapist to where you're at currently located and things like that. It's really cool. Jules is actually a guy who invented it for his daughter originally, and I got to meet with him recently. And things like me and him had a more in-depth conversation with another girl from the UK who's featured the podcast over there on PsychPal as well. And I have a few friends that have been using it too. They really love it. One of my friends, she has bipolar 1 and she sits there and tries to argue with it all the time. So it's funny to listen to her interactions. She's like, I think I stumped the AI. I'm like, yeah. But she keeps going back to it though. She's like, well, I went back to ask her how to handle this situation. So it's not a replacement therapy, but it's like AI done right. Something like have that companion, like you're 2 a.m. Mike's thinking about something. You don't want to wake up your daughter and he wants to talk. It'll let him talk to him, and things like that. It's really cool. But it'll learn who Mike is as an individual, or Dory is a person yourself, or any of the kids and things like that too. I think he said the recommended age for it was like 14 starting for kids. But it's like a little companion. But if in the minute it feels like you're going into danger, it's like, oh, red flag. We're going to go take you. Do we need to call 911 in your area right now? Because we will. We'll call 988. And it's great though, because he had catered it towards his daughter originally. And then, he even uses himself now. So he's like, you know what? Maybe I should spread it with everybody. When he approached me about it, I was like, you know what? Let's go and do it, man. Why not? It's pretty cool. It's a really cool app, though. I like it, though. It's pretty fun. I play with it all the time. You can talk to it, you can text it, you can set it pictures of things, and it'll interpret things for you. It'll break it down so you understand it, the user, which I like is it's not that cookie cutter. I'm going to say solve your problem in 10 minutes shit. Because I'm like, we know that doesn't solve anything. We constantly deal with these things, It's not going away anytime soon, And as Mike said, it's the song that never ends.
Yeah, and that's 100. And I love the fact that there is that app because so many times you have those thoughts that bombard you, and sometimes you just can't get to a paper and pad to write it down,
Yeah.
or you
It'll keep
completely
track of your
forget it.
moods and everything too. It's really cool because it'll judge what your mood is, and it'll start learning who you are, and it keeps notes. So like, when Mike goes to therapy, he can send his therapist over his notes from his app, and his app will tell him, like, it'll break it down. But it's so secure though that not even Jules can get in there. Now he can get in there if he needs to. Like there's a level of security. He's got multiple passwords, has to get into it, but he's like, he can't just willingly go in there and just break into it because it's so encrypted. Had it been in an emergency situation, he needed to release it legally wise, he could get to it that way. But there's multiple steps you have to get to do it. So it's nice because he encrypted it so well that not even he can get into it, that no one has to worry about their data being stolen. Because that's everyone's biggest fear these days is, oh, my information is going to get taken by an app.
Yeah, because we need apps to have all of our information, of course.
Tori's like, we have too many apps out there. But that's what
Yes, we do.
But that was the funny thing too, real quick. He said that's why he's not going to probably make it into an app. It's like a web app kind of thing. Like you log into the website and then it downloads like a shortcut to your phone. Because he's like, it's so much easier for him to do updates on it than versus having to go to the Google store and everything else. He can fix it faster. And like Jules and I communicate all the time. And things like that too. And like I tell him if there's any issues people run into, hey Jules, running this issue, and he's like, okay, I'm on it. And like he'll literally answer me within a few hours. He'll be like, yeah, I got this. I'll let you know when it's back up and running fine, and I'll fix the problem. So like I have as many people as I can get to submit statements of what they're feeling like or how it feels, how they like it, because we want the organic growth. Because I'm like, you see all these Google reviews, and you go to like, any of those other food sites and things. You watch those. If you ever go on Yelp and sit there and really read what these people are writing, like you're just sitting there going, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? Like these reviews, sometimes you're just like, what the hell's going on? And that's what you feel like with most things you're buying these days. You're like, is it really real? Is this a real thing? So,
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, here we go. The main question and the reason I started this podcast. Y'all ready for this one? If you could break the stigma about mental health. Now, when I ask you this question, it's something that pisses you off, something you want people to stop believing. What is that one thing you would say in your own opinion?
Stop assuming that everything has to do with mental health. That everything that we choose to say or do has to do with being crazy or schizophrenic. And, use the terms correctly.
Mike, what are you saying? What are you thinking, man? Your wheels are churning over there. I see them.
Mm-hmm.
basically what we talked about earlier. Remember, not every day is a bad day necessarily. There are days where you can be in a good mood and have a good day. So you're not always going to have something to cry about or to talk about, so to speak. And it's a roller coaster. It goes up and down.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you don't have that disease or that issue. It just means that that was a good day.
And it's okay to admit that you have it. It's okay to admit that it's out there and it's not a weakness because you have depression or anxiety.
Exactly.
It takes greater strength to admit that you have that you have depression, anxiety, or schizophrenia, or whatever it is. And it's greater strength to go get the help that you need so that you can live the life that you want, not that somebody else wants, that you want.
Okay, show's
And
over.
we-
Dory just said it. That's it. Show's over.
And we need people like you to let
Yes.
people share their stories and to talk
Yeah.
about it and to say what they are feeling or what they have and help people learn.
I appreciate that. I really do, guys. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead,
And-
Dory. Go for it. What do you got for us?
One more thing, just if you're a guy, if you're a man, I don't believe the hype that masculinity means never showing feelings or that you're not allowed to have any type of mental illnesses. You're human. That's the most important thing, is realize you're human. And women love people who actually can show that they care, that they have feelings, that they're not a robot.
I love it.
So,
I absolutely
not
love it,
that
guys.
loneliness shit.
Well, Mike, Dory, thank you so much for coming to hang out, guys. This was absolutely a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you. Before we start wrapping up, where can everybody find your podcast? Are you guys on everything? What do you drop? Let them know where to find you, the socials, all the great stuff.
Yes, our podcast is on all the major platforms. It drops every Monday and Thursday at midnight. We also have our own website at otheringpodcast.com. We are also played on internet radio station Pep Radio, Gay SA, and oh shit.
Yep. The radio station isn't oh shit.
No. And Alt Q
There
Radio.
it
That's the other one. My mind went completely blank there. And then social medias. Take it away, Dory.
Instagram and Facebook and Blue Sky, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
Awesome.
we're on all of them except TikTok right now.
Except TikTok and
Heck, TikTok. I love how you guys
and
say
X.
that. Well,
We're
guys,
not on X or Twitter, whatever.
yeah,
the hell you wanna
X
call
is
it.
a scary place. Guys, with that
Yeah,
being
that is.
said, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. Yet again, Mike and Dory, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, guys. Guys, go check them out. We're going to have all the links to their socials in the bio of the episode, along with this link to PsychPal, all that great stuff, guys. And, as I always say, I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify, all the way down to Pandora Radio. And as I always say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you can do can save some life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety, signing off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health?